it's just being able to see what great talent is out there and to be part of it.
How can you take the creative industry by storm, own part of it? And that's what serial entrepreneur Paul Kempe decided to do. Tileyard Studios is the world's largest community of independent artists and businesses.
It's become increasingly difficult for young people to get a foot in the door.
If we do the right things, we'll make money, and it'll be damn near impossible not to.
With talent like Mark Ronson, Noel Gallagher, Capaldi, Paul Kempe and Tileyard Studios are proudly helping young people and aspiring creatives get their foot in the door.
Whatever you want in life, if you want it enough, you will succeed. That's driven me really from day one. People say you go to retire, and it's like, you must be joking. No, what am I going to do? So we're building that community here, but to get the right people, you need to, it needs to be built organically, I'd say.
I've got to say to you, Paul, every experience that I've had there has been impressive.
Thank you.
It's been creative. There's been a good vibe going on. I think there was one time where I just missed Keanu Reeves, and there's some really big names that are coming in there to record, etc., etc. But yeah, the team. It is a good creative team. If I asked the team, what would they say about you? What do you think they'd say? 3 words.
Supportive, passionate, and probably demanding.
Supportive, passionate. Well, I did ask the team.
Yeah.
I did ask the team.
And what did they say?
Yeah, so several of them
Which
said...
team did you ask?
Well, no.
Oh, right, okay.
There's no naming and shaming going on. They all had good things to say, actually.
Good.
The big boss came out first. Very interesting, very, very intelligent, very, very savvy businessman. Every time you come in, everybody's pleased about it as well.
Yeah.
And the 3 biggest words that came out of several: creative, ambitious, independent.
Yeah, independent. I think the independence piece for us is a really good piece, because we're dealing with people. It's all, every company is really about the person. I think that if these big kind of corporates, the majors, people actually get lost in it, and it becomes more of an institution and an organisation rather than an individual people that you can speak to and hang out with and just have fun with. So in London, I've really tried to, rather than the normal landlord, and we don't regard ourselves as landlords, we actually regard ourselves as facilitators of talent, effectively, because that's kind of what we've always done. We don't regard, we're not the kind of big boss, big landlord that you never see, and most people don't even know who the landlord is, and then all you do is they get an increased rent demand every few years, and that's really all you have to do with them. And I wanted to have if we were going to get that community, then I wanted to know everyone that was there pretty much, and I wanted to be able to show myself regularly, so they knew who I was, hang out with them, have a few drinks with them, chat to them. I mean, that to me has been a big part of the enjoyment of Tileyard London.
Yeah, you do show your face. I mean, that's how this came about.
Yeah.
One of your guys, George, behind the scenes, says, "Oh, James, Paul's coming up, and maybe you want to be on the interview." And
absolutely.
There you go, straight in on there. Facilitators of talent, a facilitator of talent.
Yeah.
You know what that is? That is an incredible mantra for any leader. Not just you. That is an incredible mantra, isn't it, for a leader?
I think it sums up what we do. We provide. We're not the talent. I mean, arguably, we are quite creative in what we build and the facilities we procure. But generally speaking, we are there for the creatives in our community. So we're there to provide space in its basic form, give them all the support and help they need. Introduce them to everyone else within the community to maximise collaboration, and that's and to make their lives as kind of interesting and hassle-free as possible, and let them get on with what they do amazingly, which is create incredible content.
Yeah, look, there's a lot of young people now, creative people, getting into businesses and going and doing some of this themselves. What bits of advice have you got for them, from your experience in business?
Well, it's kind of interesting. I think it's become increasingly difficult for young people to get a foot in the door for a number of different reasons. I think that I think one of the reasons is that a lot of companies now are more interested in hiring established talent, whereas we've always kind of been really open to giving people a chance, and quite often they really shine. Whereas and also we found that, funnily enough, in Tileyard Education, where we do a number of MA courses. I think we have 100 students this term in Tileyard London.
What kind of education are they getting there?
Oh, they're getting it's music, writing, production, those kind of courses. So they're very, very music based.
And production based.
Yeah. And interestingly, I mean, the number of people that have graduated, because it's a 1-year course, the number of people that have graduated and got jobs at Tileyard in London is significant. So it's great. It's like it's a feeder for opportunity.
You're growing your own, really, there.
Yeah, we are. And actually, all of them will certainly, the vast majority will go and work with all these other independent companies. We have 200 independent companies in London. It's part of the community. So they will go and they see opportunities. I mean, we do loads of events with them throughout the year. We always get our community to come and speak to them and give them advice how to get on in the industry. And I think more importantly, I mean, a lot of people think the music industry is just, the guy or girl they see on stage. There is a plethora of jobs out there for everyone, in every facet of the industry. And you don't have to be singing or producing or whatever, composing. There are loads and loads of jobs that actually are super important, but are not kind of front line, if you see what I mean.
How does someone young then get past that kind of objection with hiring established talent? What
I think well, Tileyard I think is a great way of doing it, because you're in an environment where you meet all of these independent companies.
It's so true, that, isn't it? I mean, environment is such a powerful part of success. You put an iceberg will grow 1 degree in the right environment, and it will melt 1 degree in the wrong environment.
Yeah.
So, and it is that.
It is. It's. I tell you what. It is the community there that they are mixing with all these established companies, artists, all the rest of it. I mean, we've got Believe Digital down there. Now, they are incredibly successful. They're expanding their numbers there, and they are, they are referred to as the fourth major. So it's great to have them on site. And again, they are offering job opportunities to people all the time, because they're on a huge expansion. So that's great.
What would you say is your biggest success in business?
What, financially, or from a perspective of just being delighted to have done it?
I would appreciate you answering the financial one as well, but one that sits in your heart.
I think that's quite easy. The financial ones, look, there's been a number of deals over the years that have been good or sometimes very good, and there is a significant number that haven't been good. So it is all about understanding that whatever business you're in, it's not always going to go smoothly. And in fact, the current environment we're in is actually really tricky. Interest rates have gone up from, we were paying 2% on some of our facilities, and now paying 6%. That's a huge difference.
Yeah,
huge. And
what impact has that had on you?
Oh, cash flow wise, it's been really, really difficult. So but look, the property market, and I've been in it for over 30 years, it's cyclical, and it goes up and down and up and down. And if you draw a medium line up, it's actually like that. So it's always, the only time you lose money in the property industry is if you have to sell in the downturn. Then you lose a lot of money. But if you don't, you just ride it out, and the market will come back, definitely.
you know that median line that is
Yeah.
that a perspective that you go to for personal strength? Does that allow you to get through the situation?
Well, yeah, in a downturn. I mean, when we bought Tileyard, actually, we had a torrid time initially because it was just when Lehman Brothers went under, and that whole financial crisis, and the world changed literally overnight. And we only just managed to complete that transaction because we'd exchanged prior to Lehman going under.
Right.
And up till then, the markets were steaming. And then Lehman's went under, and then we had to complete like 3 weeks later. And we had about 6 lenders before who were all falling over themselves to lend money. And then suddenly we had 0. And we were 3 weeks from completion. It was like, shit, this isn't good. So we were looking at losing a deposit on that and all sorts of other stuff. And fortunately, I came up with a lender that I've never used before, and it's very unusual to get someone you've never used before that does a quick deal. And good old Co-op Bank, which was like not on my radar at all.
Wow.
And they came up, and literally we completed the day before we lost the contract and deposit. So it was quite hairy, actually. But
the good old Co-op Bank came to save the day, hey?
Thank God for that, yeah.
Thank God. Well, there's plenty of people that come and say, one thing you said in all of that was it wasn't smooth.
No.
And I read a lot.
Never is, really.
It never is.
No.
There's Phil Knight, he's the founder of Nike.
Yeah.
And he wrote his book Shoe Dog, and he shared. It's a
good book, actually.
It is a really good book. He's got incredible philosophy himself, leadership philosophy. Now, a few parts of his philosophy is number one, we're on the attack all the time. We're going for this. Mm-hmm. Number 2 is if we do the right things, we'll make money, and it'll be damn near impossible not to. We've just got to keep doing the right things.
Yeah.
But another thing he says, which reminded me of what you said, he says it won't be pretty.
No,
if you're expecting a smooth journey, it hurts you more, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, this project here in Tileyard North in Wakefield has been anything but pretty, because when we started this journey, which was probably about 8 years ago, so it's been quite a long journey already. But when we started, I mean, it was a different world in terms of building costs. So, and then of course COVID, when we just started on site, and then there was COVID, which was really disruptive. Extended the program hugely, and an extended program is a more expensive program. But the most significant factor was building cost inflation. So then the Ukraine situation and all sorts of things going on in the world, and then suddenly the building cost inflation was 25%. So we were paying 25% more than what was originally thought was the number.
Yet somehow you still found a way to finish.
Yeah, no, we're going to finish. I mean, as you can see, we're in the latter part, phase 2,
and it's impressive.
Yeah, it's a great building, isn't it?
Fantastic.
Yeah, and also we tried to design it. I mean, it's obviously a new building, but we tried to design it with some reference points to the mills, which are beautiful, and I think terrific buildings.
There is an element of class about. Look, it's the first time we met, and I want to say about everything about you: the way that you walked in, what you were wearing beforehand, how you're conducting yourself, the whole buildings, this room that we're in. There is an element of class about it all. Well,
thank you. I mean, look, the one thing that I've always said is, if I do something, it needs to be really great. I'm not prepared to do.
Where did that come from?
A crap job. It's just embedded in me. I've hated people that do things either badly when they could have done better, or half jobs. So we've never skimped, and this is important on Tileyard North. These studios and the facilities here are world class, and it would have been very easy to do a really, kind of basic job on these buildings, but it was something I just wasn't interested in. So, initially, the council said, well, we're not, because the council were involved with a certain degree of grant funding, because the scheme was completely non-viable without that. But they came up with a figure. It's meant to be kind of match funding, and of course, when all these costs started piling in over and above the figures we had agreed 6 years ago, they kind of ran a mile and said, "Oh no, any overrun costs, even though we understand it's not your fault, but you're going to have to pick that up yourselves." So, I mean, that's been a very significant number.
What are you most proud of in all of the things that you've achieved in business over the years?
I think you know that I work with great people. So, Nick Keynes, who I invested in him and two of his cohorts that used to be in a band, and many years ago. So I invested in them about 5 years before Tileyard London even was thought about. So it's the people really that I've worked with over the years that have given me the greatest pleasure, I guess, because we've met some amazing people, throughout the journey, and I'd never have met them without Talia, because property in itself can be one-dimensional. It's more it's more of a deal by deal base, and you don't really get to know people particularly well often, not always but often. And I think with Tileyard London and now Tileyard North, it's just being able to see what great talent is out there and to be part of it. I almost feel I'm a bit of a fraud, really. I'm almost kind of grabbing on the coattails of these wonderful creatives, but I can do that because obviously we're involved in the delivery and ownership of the building. So, and it's great. I think it's good for them as well. They see a face behind a name, and it's not just some random company that they've never met. So I think it's a plus for us all, actually.
If you could go back, I don't know, to a teenager or 18, whenever you started in your business ventures, any of those days, is there anything that you do different?
Anything I'd do different? Well, not a lot, because I qualified as a lawyer years ago, absolutely hated it. So I on the 2 years of training, after you got all your part twos and degrees and stuff, I did say, whatever I do, I'm not doing this. So I qualified, and I gave up the day I qualified because I thought I'm not going to be happy doing this. So I think you have to be practical, but also you have to be happy. If you're not happy, then life, it's the biggest cliche in the world, but life is very short. So, you have to be happy with what you do, or else you shouldn't be doing it. And that's what I tell people, when they say, well, I've got this position, I don't really like it, but what do you think? And it's kind of, well, without wanting to be irresponsible, I would look for something else, because you've after 12 months or so, you're going to get desperately bored, and you are going to be unhappy. In which case it's just pointless.
Yeah, look, behind every successful person there's a number of other people that have helped them along the way, all right? So, and you've got me feeling that as I'm talking to you. I can tell that you're just a really successful person. You're very calm, you're very considered, you're really good with people, you're empowering people, there's a quality about yourself. Classic, good is the enemy of great. I'm only doing great stuff.
Yeah.
Who've helped you the most?
Who's helped me the most? That's a very good question. I think a number of people have kind of helped along the way. There hasn't been, I wouldn't say a kind of a mentor that I think, my God, this is all because of him. I think the person that's actually helped me most was my late mother, who, because my background is actually quite modest. I mean, I came from a small hill farm in Wales, actually. So a lot of people say, "Oh, you must have a really wealthy family," and it's just like, you must be kidding, dude. It's just like, we had this pissy little farm in Wales. I mean, it was nothing. And I think she was my inspiration, because she was saying, whatever you want in life, if you want it enough, you will succeed, but you need to do that. So she was really my inspiration, actually, more than anything else, I'd say. So I would put that down. Your question is definitely down to her.
That whole desire inside, do you want it enough? 1937, Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, Chapter 1, Desire. Do you want it enough?
You've got to have it. And also, I think it helped that I actually came from, you know, a very modest, poor background. Because
Why did that help?
Because whilst a lot of people may get bitter and twisted about that and look at the guy that's driving a very nice car and got a very nice house and, you know, feel envious, for me, it was an inspiration. So I want some of that. I want some of that, and I'm going to work whatever it takes. I'm going to do it. So it was very much, you know, getting inspiration and from successful people that I didn't even know, by the way. But you know, I wanted a part of that life, and that's driven me really from day one, and still does. Actually, people say you're going to retire, and it's just like, you must be joking. No, what am I going to do? You know, it's been my life. And I still enjoy it, you know, the ups and downs, the wins, you know, and sometimes the wins are so much sweeter when you've had some losses. You know, it's no one wins everything. So you know that is a fallacy that's complete nonsense. You know.
You know, I asked Richard Branson this bit of advice in Dublin, 2016, I think, and he said his favourite bits about business: strategy, direction.
Yeah.
And then he said, firefighting.
Yeah.
He loves it. Just dealing with it.
I kind of love it when we've done it. You know?
Yeah. Okay.
During the time, it's like can be a bit tricky, but
it was that whole retirement thing that you said that just triggered. It just reminded me of Richard Branson. You know, you said you must be kidding. I'm not retiring.
No. It's impossible.
Have you still got the same fire in your belly? Do you still want it that much?
Yeah. I want it. Actually, I want to be. You know, I've been reasonably successful. I wouldn't say massively, but I want more success for my own personal gratification, not because I want, you know, a bigger bank account. It's just, you know, it's a sense of achievement that I always have had to have. Something to aim for, something to, you know, strive for. And I think that for me to retire, I mean, it's just an anathema for me. I couldn't possibly think about that. You know, it's crazy. You know, what am I going to do? You know, I don't really, rather sadly, as my wife says, you really don't have many hobbies, do you? And it's just like, no, I don't really. Which I think is a failure, actually. But, you know, I love what I do, so, yeah, whatever.
When you love what you do, every day is a holiday, baby. That's a quote I've got ringing around in my head. All right, last question then.
Yeah.
So, if there's one thing that the listeners should do in business or in their careers after listening to this, what would it be?
I think you have to have belief in yourself, and you have to accept that you need to do something that you are passionate about, rather than just get a job in a call centre. And there's nothing wrong, by the way, in working in a call centre, but I would have thought that's quite dehumanising, really, in many ways. But I think you need to think what you want to get out of life to begin with, and then you can plan that journey. How do I get there? But unless you understand what you want out of life, you are just going to drift through it. And I don't know. I don't see. Look, that's fine for some people, I'm sure, but I think, you know, certainly on the creative front, you really have to have a vision, and then you look at ways that you can achieve that and get people to help you along the journey. And I mean, what I've found is that the nicer you are, the more help you get in life.
Mary Porter said that, you know, kindness.
Yeah.
You know, we interviewed Mary Porter's, and she said, you better be kind.
Yeah, because actually it all comes back to bite you. You know, if you're a bit of a tosser, then you will, you know, the circle will come round and people will remember that and think, right, no. And so, and also it's just, you know, being nice to people is nice. You know, I mean, you feel better about yourself. So, yeah, so basically have a vision and then plan it out.
Have a vision, ignite that passion.
Correct.
That you
have to have
talked
passion,
about. Believe in yourself and be nice people along the way.
That's it. Perfect solution.
Paul Kempe, thank you very much.
Pleasure. Thank you very much.